Hello, everyone. I'm attorney Harry Tapias, and today I am joined by a colleague and attorney, Tracey Chen. Hi, Tracey.
Hi, Harry.
All right, Tracey, great to see you. Thank you for being here with me today. And today we're going to talk about the process of going from an OPT, optional practical training, F-1 student to H-1B. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, great. Tracey, let's start out with telling the people who are viewing this video about you. Where did you go to law school?
Yes, I went to the Penn State Law School, Penn State University Law School, 2021, and I obtained my LLM degree last year. I also applied the OPT last year, and it was passed.
Okay, fantastic. And prior to that, you also went to law school in Shanghai, is that correct?
Yes. I also have a master's degree in law school. It's in Shanghai. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Tracey, so let's talk today about the experience that you had being on OPT. So let's start with the first question. When do F1 students need to apply for OPT?
Yes, actually, the USCIS regulates that the F1 student must can apply the OPT before 90 days for their graduation, and it cannot be late than 60 days after their graduation. If they miss this period, they cannot apply the OPT again, and that's it. You lost this opportunity to apply it.
Okay, so to recap, what you're saying is that they need to apply 90 days between 90 days before graduation and 60 days after graduation. So if they miss that deadline, what happens?
They lost the opportunity and they cannot apply the OPT. It also means that they cannot work in the United States.
Okay, right. So that's very difficult. So that period between 90 days before graduating and 60 days after graduating is very important.
Yes.
Okay. And now, what is the difference between optional practical training and optional practical training STEM?
Or STEM, yes. So as we know from the name of that, the STEM OPT is for the student to obtain the degree in the certain fields. It should be the scientists, technology, engineering, and math. So those students can apply the STEM OPT. There will be 3 years. 3 years to stay in United States, but for other students, they only have 1 year. It's only 1 year to stay here.
So those who choose a major in the science, technology, engineering, and math can work under OPT for 3 years, whereas everyone else, let's say they studied English or philosophy, they can do 1 year.
Yes, exactly.
So it seems like the United States is encouraging students to study the STEM program to be here and give them more opportunities to stay here.
Yes, before you apply the degree or program, please remember to check in your school website or send an email to your university and check that your major is in the STEM, and then you can apply STEM OPT. Otherwise, you cannot do that.
And Tracey, also, there are some students who do pre-completion OPT and some who do post-completion OPT. Is there a preference that you have, or what do you recommend?
Yes, actually, we should know the difference with these two of the OPT. The pre-OPT and the post-OPT depends on whether you receive the EAD card before your graduation or after graduation. Otherwise, it's only 12 months for you. If you want to begin your OPT before your graduation, like the April, if you graduate in May, and the deadline is at the next year April. But if you would like to do after graduation and like the August, and the deadline will be the next year August. So anyway, it only have 12 hours for you to use your OPT.
So whether you are doing pre-completion or post-completion OPT, it's just 12 months.
Yeah, no. You can apply the OPT pre-graduation any month you would like, but you need to make sure that you must need to begin to work at that time and the start date. you need to find the employers to sponsor you in OPT period.
Oh, okay, that's great. And so let's transition over to OPT to H-1B. So I know you have some questions for me about H-1B. So please, I'm here to answer.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions about the H-1B because H-1B is most important for our OPT student. After the OPT, we need to apply the H-1B. So here's the first question. So what's the requirements for the H-1B, the visa? Yeah.
Okay, so the basic requirements are that the employer who is putting forth an H-1B candidate needs to make sure that the H-1B candidate has at least a bachelor's degree or a U.S. equivalent to a bachelor's degree, and that the job needs to be a specialty occupation. And generally what that means is that the job is one that normally requires that bachelor's degree in order for that job to be performed. So therefore, if you're getting a job as a lawyer, you want to make sure that the degree is in law. If you're getting a job as an accountant, you want to make sure that the degree is in accounting. But if the degree is in accounting and the job is in marketing, that's not going to work, because even though marketing, there's a bachelor's degree and there's a bachelor's degree for accounting, it's not a specialty occupation because it's two different professions.
I see. So is there any difference with the degree? It's a master degree or you just,
Yeah, actually, there is some benefits of having a U.S. master's degree, and I have to emphasize U.S. master's degrees as opposed to a master's degree from another country, whether it's England, China. U.S. master's degrees have a special benefit, which is that a U.S. master's degree or advanced degree will be eligible for the master's cap in the H-1B lottery. And as many people already know, there's 85,000 visas issued per year. The first 20,000 of the 85 are issued to those who have a U.S. master's degree only. So if you have a master's degree or more or higher, or an advanced degree, you will be among that group of the 20,000. And then the remaining 65,000 will be distributed among those masters that didn't get selected and everyone else, all those who have a bachelor's degree. So it really improves your chances of getting selected in the H-1B lottery if you have a U.S. master's degree or advanced degree.
I see. So could you share the timeline of the H-1B for this F-1 student or the OPT student?
Yeah. So for this fiscal year, the fiscal year that we're going to be entering soon is going to be fiscal year 2024. So here's what an F-1 student should keep in mind. Now, between March 1st through March 17th, employers have an opportunity to register their H-1B candidate in the lottery. Okay. And if they miss that timeline between March 1st and March 17th, they're going to have to wait till next year to apply. But presuming that your candidate was registered on that date, on or about March 31st, we will know whether your candidate was selected in the lottery. So if you have a candidate who's a U.S. master's or advanced degree, they'll have a stronger chance than if your candidate was a bachelor's degree. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed for our clients and our friends that their candidates get selected. But whether it's a regular cap for everyone else or a master's cap selection, on March 31st, we will know. And then the attorneys will have until June 30th to then file an H-1B petition. So the lottery is essentially an invitation to apply. If you get that lottery ticket, and it's an invitation to now show that this candidate merits an H-1B, but then there's that period between essentially April 1st through June 30th to now demonstrate that not only did he get the H-1B selected, but that person meets the qualifications, which is what we discussed, the specialty occupation, and the person has at least a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, so is there a great chance to pass the H-1B petition, or is that possible to reject by the USCIS after the selected by the USCIS? Yeah,
so getting the H-1B approved is a is really like a legal battle. You have to prepare a legal argument, a memorandum explaining how this candidate and the company meet all the criteria. And the government's going to focus mainly on the specialty occupation, and they're going to look at the job description. How detailed is it? And they're going to look at the job description and they're going to compare it to what the degree is, and they're going to compare it against their own records as to what is considered a normal specialty occupation. And if that matches, typically the case will be won. But sometimes the government will also challenge the maintenance of status of the student when they were in F-1. And so that's something that employers and students need to look out for. Like, did the student maintain lawful status as a student? And that's something that's really important that comes up every once in a while. But most cases will be won on specialty occupation, and maintenance of status is not a big issue, except that the student did make a mistake.
Yeah, I see. So after I approved or I obtain my H-1B visa, can bring my spouse and my children into United States, and if they can work in United States under my yeah.
So I think you're asking about family, right?
Yes. If that my spouse and my children can stay in United States with me if I obtain the H-1B visa.
So Tracey, in the event that the candidate is married, right, to a person from their country or from a different country, and they have children, the spouse cannot work. The H-1B candidate, presuming that he or she got the H-1B approved, he or she can and is allowed to work for the next 3 years. But the wife or the husband, the spouse is not allowed to work. The child will not have the right to work either. However, there'll be a point when the employer will apply for something called the permanent labor certification and will acquire an immigrant petition I-140. If that is completed, then the spouse will have the right to apply for work.
Yeah, thank you, Harry. So I have another further question about, you mentioned that I-140. Could you just explain something about the I-140 and how H-1B holder to apply that? Is there any other requirements for that? Yeah.
So that I-140 it can take a while to obtain. First, the employer has to be ready to apply for a permanent labor certification. And it can take sometimes between 12 to 18 months to even get the ability to receive the I-140. So it may take a while. So I would say the employer and the employee should start early in time and request an I-140. And once you have the I-140, for many countries, that candidate will be eligible for adjustment of status to get a green card. But for some countries that have experienced retrogression, which are mainly the largest countries like India and China, they may have to wait a few years before getting a green card, even after they got the I-140 approved.
Yes, I see. I remember I have another question, is that how can I change the eligible to apply the H-1B? How can I check my eligibility to apply that? Okay,
so it's pretty basic, and the eligibility for the person, for the individual, is, do I have a bachelor's degree? Second, do I have a job offer from an American employer? Next, does the employer want to sponsor my H-1B? It really comes down to that. And so it's both, do I have the education, and do I have an employer that wants to sponsor me? And so long as we have those answers being yes, most cases will be successful. The employer doesn't have to have a lot of money. It doesn't have to be an old company. It just needs to have the ability to pay your salary in order to qualify.
Yes. Yeah. So I think my question. Yeah.
Great. Well, Tracey, I really appreciate your time. I hope that people watching this can now have a better sense as to someone who's actually lived through OPT and now is going to embark into H-1B and how this whole process works. So thank you, Tracey. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.